Hey everyone, it's Janine Hubble-Cox with It's All Legal Too, and welcome to another episode of The Whole Truth. And we're going to get started here. We're just going to wait for a couple of followers to come in, and I am so sorry about the light. The sunlight is coming right through where I have my studio set up, so I'm going to try to make adjustments where I can. So without further ado, our guest for this episode of The Whole Truth is Leron E. Rogers, who is an entertainment attorney based out of Atlanta, Georgia. He has worked with such A-list clients as Rick Ross, Steve Harvey, BET, and a host of athletes. I mean, I could go on. And first and foremost, I want to thank Angelina Hollins and her and Lamar Blaylock for the introduction to this, gentleman that I am going to bring on in just a few minutes. So I hope everybody is staying blessed. And we're going to talk about the art of the deal, of closing the deal in the entertainment industry. So without further ado, I am going to bring in our guest for today, Mr. Leron Rogers.
Hey, how you doing, Janine?
Hey, I'm good, Leron. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well, sir. Hope everything is going well and you're staying safe and blessed.
It is. Definitely blessed. Every day above ground.
Absolutely. So just let me give a little bit of background about you, sir, if you don't mind.
Sure. Go for it.
All right. So I believe you received your undergrad degree from Texas Tech?
Texas State. In San Marcos. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. And your law degree?
Florida State.
All right.
Yeah.
And so how long have you been practicing?
21 years. Wow. Yeah. 21 years.
Yeah, it's been about 23 for me. So, yeah.
It goes fast.
It goes by really, really fast.
Yeah.
So interesting information when I was, reading your bio. You were a banker prior to going to law school?
Yeah, I was, before I went to law school, I had undergrad in finance, moved from Texas to Atlanta, was a financial analyst with Nations Bank. And, for 3 years, I was hardcore banking, financial analyst, reviewing financial statements and talking with companies about, their financial stuff. And then went back to law school. It's good. It was a great experience, though. Most times when I'm doing deals, I'm just as able to talk to a CFO as the general counsel, so it comes in handy.
Absolutely. So what was the button, so to speak, that propelled you or pushed you to want to go to law school?
Well, I wanted to go to law school because I wanted to be a sports agent, and in doing the research, I played baseball at college. I was drafted out of high school.
Okay.
And doing the research to be a sports agent, most of them were attorneys. So that was kind of the prerequisite to doing what I wanted to do, which is to be a sports agent. So that was the start of why I wanted to go to law school.
Okay. And so when you got out of law school, what was your first, what was your first interaction with the entertainment industry?
Well,
and the sports world. I mean,
sure,
I know you said that you were, you played baseball in high school, but how did that connection come about?
Yeah, so I mean, I was blessed in that it started before I even graduated from law school, right? So my second year, I was very interested in sports at the time, very involved with Florida State's Entertainment Sports Law Society, developed a relationship with the athletic department there and the compliance. And I got to meet a number of sports agents. Every sports agent that came to Florida State to recruit, I got to meet. So I got to meet the biggest sports agents because, we were a top team back in those days, right? And convinced one of them to let me work with them my second year law school. And my third year law school, I signed the 33rd pick in the NFL draft as my first client. Before I even graduated law school, got certified as a NFLPA certified, agent. And I was rocking and rolling, flying around the country, recruiting and negotiating deals and going to law school.
Now, how often does that happen?
Probably not very often, but not everybody's me, So then I come out of law school and I'm working for a big law firm here in Atlanta. So I have my sports practice. I'm an agent, and then I'm a low-level grunt associate learning how to practice law at a big law firm, which is, just good training ground.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I just want to backtrack a bit. So when you said that, the biggest name sports agents would come to Florida State, right, to recruit, how many of those were African American?
Very few, and that was one of the reasons why I wanted to, go get into the industry. I thought there was an opportunity there, and I thought I could, do some good. You want to do good. You see all these athletes who are losing money or, going broke and all that stuff, and you want to do good. You want to do good for our community. So that was the reason why I started it. But interestingly enough, the agent that I started working with, Gene Burrow, may he rest in peace, he was a brother, and he was one of the godfathers of the sports agency business. He had been in a long time. It was very well respected. He had been a general manager in the USFL for the Generals, which was Donald Trump's team, actually. Very interesting. And so he had a lot of knowledge, and I was able to kind of learn under him and guide under his wings. So I had some great training.
Wow, that's really, really amazing. Because I have a good friend that's an NFL agent as well, and he tells me stories all the time about how he was just one of very few African Americans that was able to break into representing professional athletes. So. Yeah. Anytime I hear that, I'm always just like, okay, I have to get the story out, because I have people that, I know people that are wanting to go to law school, people that are in law school who want to, get into the sports and entertainment areas. And, they don't know how. Like I interviewed a young lady last week who has aspirations of attending Columbia Law. And she said that one of the fields that she wanted to get into was entertainment law, but she felt that was just, kind of impossible or very hard because it's all about who you know. Is that true?
It's somewhat true. I mean, it's no different than anything that you really want to get into, right? Because you have to strategize, you have to network, you need to find, a mentor in that area, so that you can get introduced to the circle. Because in any circle at a super high level, the circle is super small. I mean, in the entertainment sports space, we ping across the same people very regularly, right?
Right.
And so, and a lot of people call it, it's the sexy thing to be in the sports entertainment business, right?
Right.
It's really business law within a very super niche, right?
Right.
But a lot of people want to be in it, and I'm blessed enough to have gotten in it early, very early in my career. And then not only done the sports, but then transitioned over into the entertainment as well. And, now I do beyond that. I represent Fortune 500 companies. I represent, technology companies, startups, private equity firms, all that. Yeah.
So when you say, and I agree with you, I mean, basically, the practice of law is basically document driven and except for, let's just say criminal law. A lot of what we do as lawyers is based on contracts, agreements. So can you just explain, as far as entertainment law, what really does that entail?
Sure. I mean, it's the business of entertainment, right? So at the heart of it, it's controlled by contracts. So people think this is the biggest misconception is that, there's a standard contract for this. Well, there isn't, right? Depending on who I represent, if it's in the music space and I represent a record label, I'm going to send a different contract in the same deal than if I was representing the artist, right? Because there's various rights, there's a number of different things. Now there's some commonalities, but I'm going to approach it from a totally different perspective. So the first thing is there is no such animal as a standard contract. And then the second thing is you need to get someone, if you're a talent or artist or an athlete that has been in the game a while, who's seen a lot of deals, because it's not just negotiating the terms on the page, right? It's also knowing what is a good deal for where that artist is in their career, right?
Right.
So if I have a new artist, the real secret sauce is knowing, should we take this $200,000 deal or do we hold out because this is worth $2 million? And knowing the difference, that's where the secret sauce is. It's not, there's plenty of lawyers who can just negotiate the contract.
Right.
But then you have to be able to know when your client has leverage in order to really get the bag, because these record labels, they'll tell, oh no, this is only worth 200,000 or this is only worth 150,000 or whatever.
Right.
But I just did a 7-figure in-pocket deal for an artist, and that's where they started. They started off, $100,000-$200,000. I was like, nah, this is gonna be a monster.
Wow.
Just wait. I told them the longer you wait, the more you're gonna pay. And that's exactly what happened. So, but you have to know that, and then you have to be able to explain that to your client, so your client rocks with you. Because what'll happen is these record labels will try and go to your client and say, your lawyer's crazy, he's gonna mess you up, blah blah blah.
Right.
And then you just have to say, just trust, just sit back, watch this magic.
Sit back and watch.
Sit back and watch this magic. But then again, the flip side also happens. You have a client who comes in and says, I should get $1 million deal. And then I'm like, well, you haven't set it up to create the leverage to do that. You should be happy if somebody gives you 200,000, right? And so sometimes you have to have the opposite conversation. It's not just all the upside. It goes both ways. And so part of that's just coming with educating clients, because I represent people on the record label side. I understand what they're looking for. What's the metrics? What they have to make their money back. They're in business. They're in the music business. Right. So everyone has to make money. And so if you don't understand that, even when you're on the talent side, you're going to do your talent a disservice, because you're going to be asking for unreasonable things and you're going to piss off the record label.
Right.
Again, that comes with experience. I've been doing this a long time.
So basically, and then you have the connections or the network with the record industry labels to be able to negotiate the best deals for your clients.
Sure, of course. I mean, I know the presidents of the record labels and the publishing companies, and if something goes on, I can shoot them a text like, yo, I need you. I need to get you on the phone. I mean, we close the deal at 2 a.m, and everybody's all on. Like, we got to get this done.
Right.
And that happens sometimes. When that's just relationships.
Absolutely. All right. So who was the first recording label artist that you signed?
The first major label artist.
Major label.
The first major label, because when I was a young lawyer working at a big firm, I did that for a couple of years, and I was doing stuff I didn't like. I was doing employment litigation defense. I was doing premises liability defense, and I was doing business litigation. And I didn't like the personal injury defense and employment stuff, right?
Right.
So I changed law firms to another firm, and one of the partners did entertainment. He represented a number of people in the music business. And so I kind of got out there, in the street, and I could talk a little mess and talk my way into situations, right? I could say, oh yeah, we do that. Oh yeah, we represent such, and I'd give the list of the clients that one of the partners represented.
Right.
And so you get frozen there? You good? Okay. So I would get out in the street and I would talk my stuff, and I would talk my way into situations. And the first major label artist I signed was Lil Scrappy. He was signed to BME, which was Warner Brothers, and it was Lil Jon's record label.
Okay.
And a good friend of mine now, Vince, referred him to me, and then I handled it. And but Vince also knew that my partner was also there too, right? So It was, he knew he was going to be well taken care of. So that was kind of my first major label client of my own. I had worked on some other big clients of the firms, but that was my first of my own.
I mean, that's pretty big. I mean, yeah. Little Scrappy. I mean,
Oh no, we rocked. We did a bunch of. Yeah, we rocked and rolled.
All right. So, and you were able to sign on various other clients as well.
Sure.
And I named some of those in our promo. So reputation is the key. Wouldn't you say?
100%.
Because that, I mean, they have to have faith and trust in their, you know, in their attorney and the people that they surround themselves with. Correct?
Oh, no, 100%. I mean, this was pre, you know, internet, really promotions, and definitely pre-cell phone, social media, right? So the only way I got clients was word of mouth. It's old school networking, right?
Right.
You know, I didn't have my face on any billboards. I didn't do any internet advertising. You know, I still don't, never have, right? So every client I've ever gotten is because someone else said, call Leron. And so your reputation precedes you. And luckily, I still get, you know, phone calls every single day. So I'm blessed in that regard.
Well, that is a blessing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right. So what's the most difficult deal that you've had to basically work your magic on? Either sports or entertainment or both?
Yeah, I can't think of one that's just the most difficult.
Okay.
Because a number of them have challenges, you know, whether it's the actual deal, whether it's the client, whether it's the client's expectations.
Right.
You know, sometimes I have heart palpitations. I'm like, oh, you killing me, client X, you are killing me. And that's saying it very nice. Usually I'm cussing.
Hey, we all do that. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it happens. It happens. So I can't really say, I can't think, not one comes to mind that, you know, one super difficult one. I mean, we've had some big wins over the years and we've had incredible success, but they've been battles, right? I mean, no one's gonna, when the people are cutting you 8-figure checks and whatnot, and they don't do that willingly. You got to go out and you got to beat people down. You know, we just had a case that went up in the Second Circuit against 50 Cent. It was
I was going to talk about that.
I mean, it was a very novel case, and I respected 50's argument. I thought it was dead wrong, but it was a new case. It was a case of first impression. In you know, 50's a bully, but luckily for me, I was representing the client that basically had enough gravitas to say, nah, I'm not gonna let him do that, and secondly, had enough money to gear up so we can go ahead and kick some ass. You know what I mean? And that
client was who?
What's that? That was Rick Ross.
And that client was who?
That was Rick Ross, right? So, you know, he wasn't going to take a L.
Nope.
So he's like, nah, let's go. Let's rock. And so, you know, we were successful in that case. You know, it was a 66-page decision by the Court of Appeals, which is, I've never seen a court decision that long. That's how much
not that long
they went into. So it was, you know, it's good because if I didn't have a client who had the financial resources and the backbone, then 50 could have run over that person because, you know, litigating is expensive. And I'm one of the rare lawyers who does both transactional work and litigation in the space. Okay. And so, you know, when you're gearing up the horses and you got the team, we can do some damage, you know, but again, it's expensive. And our legal system is not one for, you know, taking it easy on the pocketbook. If you really got to gear up, it costs.
It costs. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
we win.
All right. I like that. I like that confidence. I mean, and basically what you're saying is your track record speaks for itself.
Pretty much.
All right. Can't argue with that. Can't argue with that. All right. So since COVID hit, basically, aside from basically the whole world being shut down, this country being shut down, the music and entertainment industry and film industry was shut down, right?
Well, certain aspects, right? So
certain aspects. But what has changed as far as that's concerned? As far as new opportunities for artists to be able to, I mean, they already were streaming, right? Their music. So have there been any additional advantages as far as the pandemic has been concerned, as far as new artists or current artists getting their music out?
So the consumption of music has gone through the roof during COVID, right? So record labels are making money. There's no doubt about it. Now the artist touring has dried up to a halt. So the individual artist is not making as much money as they were when they could get out and tour, obviously. And so that's had impact on the individual artists. But in terms of having leverage to go and do deals with record labels, you know, they have cash, and they still will pay a good ransom if you have the leverage to get it, right? So that's the biggest thing, is just the touring is just dried up. And so, clients have gotten creative, and promoters have gotten creative. They're doing parking lot concerts. They're doing virtual concerts. And some clients, they're doing master classes. And, in some of the things that I've been telling clients for years in terms of diversify your revenue streams, don't have all your eggs in the entertainment basket. Let's, what other kind of businesses do you like, or are you interested in? And let's diversify your cash flow. I practice what I preach. A couple of years ago, I bought a commercial cleaning business. I have a branding agency that does work. So I have investments in a number of technology companies and a private equity firm. So you have to, as an attorney, I have to practice what I preach. I can't just tell the clients to do that. And then here I am just sitting here collecting a check from, one source. Right. But, with that, it's difficult. It's difficult to find time to balance, handling all of our client matters and then all the other stuff that we have going on. But, stuff has to get done. That's why you have to have a team. That's why, I'm in with a firm that has major assets and is a major player in the industry, because that provides me a deeper bench so that I can service my clients better.
Right. And then have a little bit of time to yourself. Like you said,
every now and again, I tell you.
Every now and again, it's like we're so busy trying to solve everybody else's problems. And we find so little time to be able to devote to ourselves. And, we have families and kids and all that kind of stuff. So it's challenging at times.
Too. Yeah, we need a mental health break too. I tell you.
I need one real bad right about But that's a discussion for another day.
Certainly.
All right. So what advice would you give to, like I said, the individual who is, in law school or thinking about going to law school? And you kind of touched on that, a little while ago in our discussion. But you said, you talked about mentorship. And I knew when I was in law school, I really didn't have an area that I wanted to go into. I just knew I wanted to practice law.
Right.
And when I got out of law school, I didn't have, any type of mentorship. Even at the firms that I was with, I was usually the first female attorney at the firm and the firm's first female Black African-American attorney. So I had nobody that looked like me. So what would you say, how can, law students or, those just, beginning to practice law hook up with a mentor?
Well, there's a couple things. If you're a young law student, you don't necessarily know what area of practice that you like or what, is your interest. I think that's probably the first thing. Just try and get a feel for some different practice areas, whether that's, in most of these law schools nowadays, they have, various opportunities to either clerk or intern with law firms or, the public sector, or, just get some experience and, go and do some work so that you can see if you have an interest in a particular area,
Yeah.
But for those people who do kind of know what they want, I think the recipe is at a very early stage, start to research who are the top attorneys in that practice area, right? In whatever city you want to go to, or even throughout the country. Then figure out, okay, what organizations do they belong to? Where can I get in contact with them and meet them so I can have a conversation with them?
Right.
And do that research. And so then when you put yourself in a position where they are around, then you can have a conversation with that person instead of cold calling or cold emailing. I mean, I get so many voicemails and emails from law students and prospective law students. I mean, I'm slam busy from people who are paying me, right? I can't take time and then try and, respond to emails from people who I don't know. They're cold emailing me. I have no idea who they are, no connection to them. And so you have to figure a way to have a connection with people, right?
Right.
So I would suggest, for instance, if you wanted to get into the entertainment law area or sports, well, then, when you're in law school, you should be involved with your Entertainment Sports Law Society. You should be involved with the State Bar Association's Entertainment Sports Law section. You should be involved with the ABA's Entertainment Sports Law Forum. If you're an attorney of color, or even if you're not, you should be involved with the Black Entertainment Sports Lawyers Association, right? Because that's where you start to develop relationships, and it takes time. But if you do that, you come to realize, oh, this is a super small circle. Everybody knows everybody.
Right.
So once you start to develop those relationships, it's easier to maneuver, and that's how I did it. I mean, I only know how I did it. And I did the research, and I knew all the top sports agents. So when I came across their name, I already knew who they represented. I knew a lot of stuff, so we had some talking points. Right. And so you have to be prepared so that when you get your opportunity, you can execute. Right.
Absolutely. Preparation is key.
Yeah, and then and even if you do just need to cold call or reach out, if you're in law school, you have an advantage. Invite them to the law school to speak. Right. Yeah. I'm much more likely to do that than to, let's grab coffee. Like, and I don't even drink coffee. Like, I get to the office early and I'm running. I was up at 5 o'clock this morning working,
right.
Had to get done. I don't have time to take a coffee break. I'm on the move. So, I think law students think that attorneys just have more time than they do. And I thought that as a young lawyer, I'm like,
right.
Why are these older lawyers never getting back to me? They take forever. Now I'm like, man, I thought it would be easier when you have more people working for you. It's actually harder.
Harder.
The more people I have working for me. It's crazy.
It is. And I mean, it's just like, and toward this time of the year, I just start checking out, because it's just like, we work on the weekends, we work at night, we don't have set hours. So it is kind of crazy. And you try to fit everything in there, and you try to give back, and it's rough, but
and you want to give your clients white glove service, and my clients do, and they expect it, and they have access to me, and in our business, stuff comes up at all hours. If I get a call at 2 a.m, it's not good, and I may not go back to sleep, and that's just what it is. And I may have to orchestrate a whole plan before the 6 o'clock news cycle, and that's just what it is.
Right. I agree. But that's what we signed up for, right? That's why we get paid. But I just want to, just emphasize your point that networking is so, key and imperative. Through the relationships that I have made over the years, I was given the opportunity to assist an NFL player with a traffic stop that happened here last year that made national news. And just from, being general counsel for Sister 2.0, I've had the opportunity to talk to not only top entertainment attorneys such as yourself, but, others across the country as well. So, and, I stay in contact with them, and that's how you form relationships. And I think that, as for, African Americans, especially young attorneys, or just, young individuals in general, I think that networking is just so important. Don't be afraid to reach out. I mean, all you can get is a no at the end of the day, right? So, but Leron, I want to thank you for coming on to our show today to talk to us. And share your insight and information with our viewers.
Of course. Really, and you're the master networker, and just because of Angie and Blaylock, and you work your angle, because I was like, who? Oh, okay. Angie sent you. Okay, and tell Angie I said hello. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look out for my sister. All
absolutely good. I appreciate it, because she's been watching what I do. She's like, hey, you should call so and she said you should call Leron. He would be great to have on your show. And I'm yep, I did. I'm not afraid to reach out. I'm just kind of aggressive like that.
Yep. No, it worked out. It worked, but that's the perfect kind of thing. It wasn't a cold situation. It was a warm intro, right? That's what you want.
Very much so.
But thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
No, thank you. I know you're super busy. So again, thank you. I know we were trying to get this scheduled, and but I really, really appreciate your time. And like I said, again, your the information that you have shared with us. And I wish you nothing but continued success. I'm going to keep following you. Hopefully you will come back onto our platform to share later on in the future.
I can ever do for you as well.
I appreciate you, sir. Any last thoughts that you want to leave our viewers with?
No, I just appreciate the opportunity, and thank you for allowing me on to express some thoughts to the people.
Absolutely. And in closing, as I have been preaching probably, I don't know, for the past, few weeks, it's voting time, everybody. So please, 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 I think we have, 18 or 19 days left until election day. Please get out and vote.
Yeah.
No
and
excuses.
one other thing I wanted to tell people, protect your mental state, right? Right now, it's a lot of stress. It's a lot of trauma, even for professionals. It's exhausting. Protect your mental, protect your your physical body. Take care of your physical body, and take care of your finances, and your family, and just kind of do those things because you can't. Health is wealth these days, and as I get older, you really start to realize that.
That is so true. I mean, that's so true. If we don't take care of ourselves, then we're not going to be able to take care of our clients or our families. And so that would not be a good thing. So I'm so glad that you made that point. I totally agree. Yes, everybody, please take care of yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. All right, Leron, again, thank you so much for coming on. Stay safe, my brother. We will be in touch.
We'll talk soon.
All right. Have a great one. Bye.